Hi students, let me continue with the organic questions which we were discussing, and this is the part 2 of it. Let's see what is the question given here. This question is from GTA paper, where there was a paragraph question out of in which most of you have done a mistake on this question number 14. So let me go through that. So it shows that it tells us that there is a triple bond on which there is some reagent which has been added, and we need to see the product for it. So let me go through the solution here. So this triple bond which has been given here, where it is connected to CF3, it is being treated with CH3O minus in the presence of CH3OD. So one thing we know that CH3O minus is a very good nucleophile as well as base. Well, there is no role of basic nature here, but it is mostly to do with the nucleophilic nature, because you can see CF3 here is a very good withdrawing group, so it will withdraw strongly by -I, which in fact will help this carbon to get polarized so that it can facilitate a nucleophile. So now nucleophile could have been attacked on this position as well as this position. We need to check out on the position where carb anion is becoming more stable. So you can see that CHC triple bond CF3, if CH3O minus attacks here, this pi bond would shift here, thereby it would become CHOCH3 with double bond C minus and CF3. So here carb anion would be more stable, so this is more facilitated in this case. And one more thing, if you check out in terms of orbital on which this has been formed, so this OCH3 which has been coming here, which is, I'll write it as CH3O, and then I have a hydrogen here, double bond and carbon. So this this bonded pair where it has CH3O minus has been bonded with carbon, and the lone pair which is formed, they always try to be opposite to each other so that there would be less repulsions between them. Hence you would see this is the kind of molecule you will get. And from here, now when you treat that with CH3OD, this being a good base now will extract proton, in this case it is deuterium, and you will get this as C double bond C, D, CF3 and CH3O with H. So this is how it would be forming. Okay, so you could observe that the addition which has happened, CH3O and D, is actually a trans addition. See, generally we always see that nucleophilic additions are not much favored in alkynes, but when you have a strong withdrawing groups like CF3, nucleophile addition can also be favored, and they will always favor such a way that they will get a trans type of a product. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So you can see the case here, trans addition. So I think the B part, you can see the B is the right answer here. Next, one more question which in this paper that was most of you have done some mistakes here, is to find out the total optically active stereoisomers which are possible here. So we need to first write down the total number of stereoisomers, and then we'll see whether which of them are optically active. So in this case, first thing we need to identify what are the stereo centers. So OH, CH, double bond CH, CH, OH and CH3. This is how it is. Now in this you can see this carbon is a chiral center, this carbon is a chiral center, and that is a stereo center. Along with that, this is also a stereo center. So there are 3 stereo centers in this case, but we can also see that there is a symmetry that lies here, because of which we might get some common we might get some same type of molecules which we need to avoid. So one thing is for sure, there is one double bond, so I can have both cis and trans forms for sure. So within cis, if you see left hand side and right hand side, at left hand side there is an R configure, right hand side there is an R configure. Same way in trans also R and R configuration. We have R and S here, R and S and R,
should have 8
and
combinations. In this
S and
8
R, and
combinations, let us
finally
first think
S
about
and
this
S and
combination.
S and S.
These
Sys with
8
RS and
are
SR.
possible, out of which
So if
some
we
of them
check
would
out
be
sys
similar times.
with
In fact,
RS and SR, imagine this. This is how it is being present here. So what I could say here, above our methyl, and let's say OH is here and H is here, and OH is here and H is here. Okay. So if this is the case, you can see here if it is R configured, then this would be S configured, or if this is S configured, and here it will be R configured. Okay. And in case if at all I rotate this by 180 degrees with respect to horizontal, I will get the same form. So in fact there is a plane of symmetry that is running through this. Okay, so hence I could say this is actually a mesoform. So it is one and the same. Mesoforms does not come in trans. So totally we will have okay, so 1 2 3 here and 4 here, totally we will have 7 stereoisomers. But within this, one thing you need to check out in case of trans, because our objective is to find out the active stereoisomers, right? So if you need to find out the active ones, in cis we have two active. In cis we have two active isomers. Okay, so which is R and R combination and S and S combination. But in case of trans, now in case of trans, what you can see here, sorry, double bond here, and this is how the group is. If it is this way, and here we have, let's say, OH and H, and here we have H, here we have H and OH. Okay, so in this case, this R, if this is R, then this would also be R. Similarly, if this is S, then this would also be S. And one thing you can observe carefully from here, if at all I take this center point, then this will be the point of inversion for hydrogen as well as for OH and also for methyl. So we can say actually we are having a center of symmetry. Okay. So again, when it comes to RS and SR, those combinations would also lead out to be the same. So hence, okay, if we have trans RR and trans SS, both of them will have center of symmetry. So therefore, in trans, the optically active isomers, that would be two active isomers, which will be trans with RS and trans with SR. So here we got 2, here we got 2. So total we will have 4 isomers which are optically active isomers. So that is a question that has been asked. So it's a very good question. So if you just keep practicing writing R and R and R and S configurations for all the cases, I think that would be much easier to do this. Okay. Okay, let's see the next question. The next question is more related with ozonolysis. So there is some X which is given, which is making it a formation of Y, and then we have some Z which is forming this molecule. There is also W which is forming this molecule in the presence of base. Okay, we need to find out which is the right combination. okay, where you can have X and Y. So this is more or less like a hit and trial method. So the ones which are more familiar, I'll directly do that. Okay, let's see about the B part of it. So first there is an uh, protonation done, and then more importantly dehydration done, and we'll get this as a double bond, and then ozonolysis done in the presence of zinc, as in it is a reductive ozonolysis. So that is how much logic you need to know. So if we check out the B part, what kind of a reaction it is happening, let's see. We have pH, CH, okay, OH with CH and methyl group and pH here. In the presence of acidic medium, this oxygen will take the proton, this gets protonated, so we'll get this as OH2 plus with CH, Me and pH. This is what we will get initially, and from here you can see this group would leave, okay, and as soon as that carbocation is formed, it will get rearranged. So CH plus CH, Me and pH. So we can see that it is becoming more stable carbocation on the other side, so it will get rearranged to form CH2, C with pH and methyl here with carbocation, and then from here the elimination takes place to get pH CH2, sorry, pH CH double bond C phenyl and methyl. Okay, so this is the first product that you will get. So in this case, as per the question, from X we got Y, and from Y we need to do ozonolysis. So reductive ozonolysis. So in reductive ozonolysis we'll be breaking this bond, and we'll get two products here, pH CHO plus pH C double bond O Me, and whatever nascent oxygen is left over, zinc will control that and make that to form ZnO. So these are the two aldehydes and ketones which have formed in this case. And now he said that those aldehydes, okay, one of them is forming this, okay, you can see one of them as per the question is forming this, the other one is forming this. So definitely you can see this is more like an Cannizzaro reaction, and this is more of an aldol condensation. Okay, so we need to understand which one can go for Cannizzaro, which one will go for aldol. So here you can see this one will go for Cannizzaro because uh, it does not have an alpha hydrogen. So let me write down that first. So PHCHO in the presence of OH minus, we know that it will become PHCO minus plus PHCH2OH. This is a Cannizzaro reaction. Okay, so definitely as per the question that has to be W. So this is W, and if this has to be pH C double bond O Me. Now this is undergoing aldol condensation. In aldol condensation we know that the second mole you have to take two molecules. It is a self aldol condensation with CH2 minus will attack here as a nucleophile. We'll have this as pH, write it here. So we'll get this as pH C double bond O, sorry, pH with OH and Me with CH2 C double bond O pH. This is the aldol, and on heating we'll get alpha beta unsaturated aldol. Okay, so which is pH C with methyl double bond CH C double bond O pH. I think that is a product which has been given here. So you can see that this is the product which is given. So therefore this molecule which is making an aldol must be Z. Okay, so both of them are satisfying in the case of B. The similar product we can also get it in the case of C also. You can see how I'm directly writing here what is the eliminated product you will get after dehydration, which is CH double bond C, which is CH3 and pH. okay. And if you observe this one and this one is exactly same, so going forward rest of the reactions will be exactly same here. So therefore you can see C would also give the same type of a product here, okay. And here this is acting like X and this is acting like Y, and rest of the product you will get it as W and Z only. So this B and C, both of them are actually giving the same type of products. So that is a question asked, which of the combinations of X and Y will give you Z and W. I hope you guys understood that. Okay guys, let us see the next question here. So in this question it has been asked that there is a triple bond on which HBr excess is been added, what would happen? CH3 C triple bond CH is present and we are adding HBr excess, okay. Normally alkyne does not go for electrophilic addition easily, because if it makes an H plus addition it would form an vinylic carbocation. So I'm sure everybody is aware of that, okay. So vinylic carbocation is unstable. So this is usually facilitated by adding something like HgCl2, where it will form a mercurium bridge and then the addition reaction will further take place. But since excess is given, we can always assume that it is following the same reaction set. So imagine that in the presence of this H plus, okay. So in the presence of this H plus, the pi bond is attacking here. So we'll get this as CH3 C double bond CH2 plus following Markovnikov's addition, and from here Br minus is been added on this carbon. So we'll get this as CH3 C Br double bond CH2. And since it is excess, now definitely alkenes are very favorable for electrophilic addition. So now again the addition will happen here with double bond CH2 and adding with H plus, okay. Again it will follow Markovnikov's addition, as well as you can see when the carbocation gets positive charge on this position, the lone pair from bromine will also support as a non-classical support. That means non-classical carbocation formation. So which will bring more stability to the carbocation. Hence it is carbocation is formed here, and then Br minus will attack here. Thereby we would have this as CH3 C Br Br and CH3. So we can see we have geminal dihalides forming, okay, dibromides in this case, okay. So we need to be aware that, so that was a question asked and it is an electrophilic addition. So you can see this is a geminal dibromides which are forming here, okay. So that's the simple question asked. See the next question, it is about relation between D glucose and L glucose, okay. Let me simply write what exactly is a D glucose. First, when it comes to glucose, glucose will have 4 chiral centers with CHO as the functional group and CH2OH here. This is a Fischer projection which I am writing. So we have OH, OH, OH and OH in this particular configuration. So when you have this D, if you just recall, D is always with respect to this 5th carbon, okay, which is in reference to the D glyceraldehyde. So this is D glucose. D glucose. The minute we write it L, it becomes a mirror image, okay. So it is actually a mirror image of this, okay. So in this mirror image you can see again this 4 chiral centers with CHO, CH2OH, and now if you look out on this side, because on the mirror image now we will see OH is coming on the right hand side, sorry, on the left hand side here on the 5th position here. You can see on the 5th position it is coming on the left hand side. So with respect to glyceraldehyde, now it is going to be L glucose, which is H H, H and H. So these are D and L. So I can say these D glucose and L glucose are enantiomers of each other, enantiomers of each other, and all enantiomers are stereoisomers of each other. So they are stereoisomers. Okay. So that is the question asked, and if you see the options, relation between D glucose and L glucose, we can say they are enantiomers and they are stereoisomers. Okay. Epimers, the word epimer means it is the change in configuration only at one carbon. So it is a diastereomer where the absolute configuration is changed only at one particular carbon. So I hope that point is clear here, right? So I think that was all in the paper. So we'll discuss in the next part about the next paper. Okay. Thank you.